Warning! What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Geek Pod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
Okay, I guess it's just us this week.
It's like old times again.
Yeah. So Hugh, what's got you geeked?
Well, if I can negotiate around the cat here, because I am a good negotiator when it comes to cats, I got something in the mail this week I'm really excited about. As people know, I'm a foodie. That's a big thing for me. And I happened to see an ad in my Facebook feed about something called the General's Hot Sauce. Maybe You've seen it, maybe you haven't. I'm now the proud owner of 6 bottles of this. And check this out. It's a friggin' grenade.
That's awesome.
Even has a little dog tag. Here's one of the green ones.
Nice. And I'm assuming the different colors probably denote different flavors or heats.
Yeah. There are several different. I got their variety pack. So basically, I got your general, cayenne pepper sauce, which is their red sauce. Then they have shock and awe, which is orange habaneros. They have a green sauce, which is actually cayennes, but before they turn red. They have a jalapeno sauce. There's another red one, which is some other kind of pepper, I forget. And I actually got not that I can have a lot of it because that one has sugar in it, but there's a maple syrup.
Ooh.
Which is friggin' delicious. It is so good. And what blew me away, besides the fact that, this stuff is good, and the hotter ones are super hot. Like, I was crying the other day. Basically, I made a big plate of scrambled eggs, and I put a little bit of each sauce on it.
Ooh.
This morning, I got them so I could try them and move up in heat. And by the end, I was like, these are the best eggs I've ever had. But what blew me away was the fact that they got to me so fast. I literally was sitting watching TV Saturday night. Okay, so it's like 9, 10 o'clock at night when this comes my way. I search around for a little bit. I don't know exactly when I put the order in, but it was really late on Saturday night. I ordered on Amazon. Now it says it'd be delivered on Monday. Well, 2 days, that's, that's not unreasonable. Amazon's really quick. I get deliveries after 5 all the time. Sometimes they arrive before 8. This shit was on my porch before I made breakfast Monday morning.
Wow.
I was about to start making my morning smoothie because that's what I have every morning for breakfast, except once or twice a week I'll have some scrambled eggs. And I was like, Tuesday I'm going to have scrambled eggs with my new hot sauces. And I'm getting ready. I literally have the cup in my hand and I see the mailman on my porch. I'm like, what the fuck? I go out there and there it is, my big box of Grenade hot sauce.
Nice.
It was so fast. And I wanted to read a little bit about this, okay? So it comes with a little pamphlet about our company, Smoke Hall Foods L3C. What the fuck is an L3C? A veteran-owned small business, maybe that's what a L3C is, was established in 2012 at a tailgater, like most great companies, and set out to achieve three things: make the absolute highest quality all-natural hot sauce without cutting any corners. Think Johnny Walker Blue Scotch. Support the American farmer and protect product quality by growing all of our own peppers here in the U.S. That's right, every single pepper. And create employment opportunities for and donate to a meaningful percentage of our profits to military and veteran families. We'll skip to the next thing. So about our product. Now, this is interesting. Each bottle of the General's hot sauce is all natural and contains 86% actual peppers. Most other sauces are 20% at best.
Wow.
Because they end up, cutting it with vinegar or water or some things like that. There's no thickeners, no preservatives. They also study and employ biologically sustainable growing practices. We're proud of the fact there are no mystery chemicals being sprayed on our peppers. It's all about the details. We rinse every pepper before it gets ground into mash. No dirt, no branches, no leaves. We grind the peppers the same day they're picked. It's hard work, but it's worth it. The pepper mash is stored in our aging houses until it's ready to filter, blend, and bottle. Some things can't be rushed. I'm not going to read this entire thing, but I thought it was very interesting. I did not know that most commercial hot sauces are only 20% peppers. So not only is this really tasty, really spicy, but it also seems to they have what's the word I'm looking for? Integrity when it comes to, what they stand for and what they're making and how they make it. Not a lot of companies can say that. So I urge you guys, if you like hot sauce, look it up. It's called the General's Hot Sauce. You're not going to be disappointed. When I first saw it, I was like, looking for some hot sauce to put on your wings, go to the General and save some time. But that just didn't work. It was a little weird. But yeah, that's what's got me geeked, man.
Nice. Then it'll be in the show notes.
Fantastic. I thought I might have to negotiate with you to get that in the show notes, but I'm glad you're just going to do it.
So two things. I do have something that's got me geeked, but I want to go into what's got me tweaked right now. I'm really, really not happy. I don't know if you can tell from this far away or not. I'm looking pretty rough right now.
Dude, I miss Corbs and Kev too, but man, you're taking it too far.
No, almost 44 years old, and I finally fucking develop seasonal allergies. It's I'm feeling pretty miserable. But I still made it to the show.
Good for you.
Eyes feel like sandpaper. My nose feels like someone punched me in the face, but that might also have something to do with the festering, nasty pimple under my skin right now.
It sounds like those are difficult symptoms to negotiate, Paul. I'm glad you're here too.
But at least I'm not stuck on a toilet.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to what's got me geeked, and that is Hugh, did you know I'm a campaign manager?
I think I might have seen something on Facebook about this right before the show started.
Madison, my oldest, has decided that she is throwing her non-existent hat, because she has a big head, into the ring for sixth grade student council.
Now, is there a particular reason she decided to pick a campaign manager that's definitely going to get her campaign torpedoed for violations? Ethical violations?
Right. Silver lining, I'm not allowed at the school with the whole COVID thing, so I can't really screw too much up for her.
So now you can use COVID as excuse instead of beforehand when you had to say I'm not allowed at the school.
For legal reasons, yes. But no, she's been hell-bent on this since last year. She just decided she wanted to be on student council. Apparently they're voting for 6 kids. Tomorrow they have to give their speeches. And so she did create quite a campaign sign, big old poster board that says vote for Madison S for student council. And because we have to go over the top, I went to Walgreens and had an 8x10 of her printed out, cut it out, put it in the middle of her sign. You guys will see it. I'm hoping Facebook links work in this, because that'll be in the show notes. If it doesn't work the way I want it to, I'll take the link out and just post a picture along with it. But yeah, so that's good. Voting is next Wednesday. So 2 weeks from now, 2 episodes from now, episode 105. I'm hoping I will have good news for all you guys listening and rooting her on.
All right. Fantastic.
So Hugh, what are you playing?
Oh, that is a big, big question this week, Paul. Now, last time I had said that I anticipated that I was going to have beaten the reboot Tomb Raider trilogy by the time we got back together, and I certainly did, along with a
Nice.
lot more. I did beat it. I want to echo my previous sentiment that um, if you, especially if you only like modern games or whatever, you're not interested in going retro, you're not going to go wrong. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider are three of the best games I've ever played. They're fantastic. Go play them. Immediately after that, I was like, man, what am I going to play now? So I've had a busy week, dude. Uh, I realized that I had the entire Uncharted series as well that I've collected over the years from PlayStation
Nice.
Plus. And Uncharted is basically the male version of Tomb Raider. Same concept. Very cinematic game, kind of a, Indiana Jones ripoff, if you will, but done well. And it's in the news this week, actually. Some pictures were posted from the upcoming Sony Uncharted movie, which has people in an uproar because it stars Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Now, I know you don't know anything about Uncharted, Paul, but
Nope.
basically, Nathan Drake and his buddy Sully. Nathan in the games. Nathan's probably in his 30s. Sully's probably in his 50s. If I had to draw a parallel to another movie twosome, I would say kind of like Highlander with Connor McLeod and oh my God, I can't believe his name is escaping me. Yeah, Ramirez. So think, that kind of an age difference. Ramirez was older. Okay. This doesn't work. First of all, I mean, the picture of them, I mean, they're saying it's an origin story, so it's set before the games. I get that. They probably want to make Tom Holland happy. They probably want young actors so they can like milk this franchise forever. But holy shit, is this completely inappropriate casting? I'm sure they're both going to act their best and they're going to do a good job with it. But Mark Wahlberg would be a better Nathan Drake, and then pick somebody older to be Sully. It's really weird. Having played the game now, I understand why
Okay.
people are freaking out because it's so off from the source material. It's not funny. I mean, people are probably freaking out about, in Netflix Sandman, they cast a black woman as Death,
Saw
which
that
is,
today.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. This is worse. That's not bad. That's a little weird if you're a fan of the comic book, but this is what we do these days, so it's okay. This casting is way off. But that I digress. So I beat the first Uncharted. Great game. I really enjoyed it. A couple places that were really difficult, especially these jet ski portions. A bit more old school, than I'm used to. And I started Uncharted 2. But I get into that and I'm like, you know what? I did this whole great thing with Tomb Raider. You know what? I am going to go ahead and I'm going to start playing. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go and I'm going to play some older Tomb Raider games. I pull out my PS3. I fire it up. I ordered a couple games, the Tomb Raider trilogy, which was on the original PlayStation. There was like 4 or 5 Tomb Raider games. Then on PS2 there were 3. PS2, PS3. There were 3 games. There was Tomb Raider Legend, Tomb Raider Anniversary, which is a remake of the original game, and Tomb Raider Underworld. And they had a disc that had all 3 of them. So I bought that. I'm like, this is going to be great. I played and beat Tomb Raider Legend. Good game. Some challenging parts because of the way we used to do platformers in the old days. Things are certainly more forgiving these days, but I certainly enjoyed it, and the story was interesting. Moved on to Tomb Raider Anniversary, and the disk drive in my PlayStation 3 died.
Oh.
It's done. It's toast. So I couldn't play this or the other game I ordered off eBay, which was Dante's Inferno, which we'll get to in a minute. So I scrambled around. I'm like, wait a second. I beat this game, the first game on here, in 3 days. So successfully processed a return to both Amazon and eBay for both discs. So I'm going to get my money back. Turned around and I bought Tomb Raider Underworld from the PlayStation Store and Dante's Inferno. Anniversary is not available. Or not Anniversary, yeah. Tomb Raider Anniversary is not available on the store on the PS3. So I finished installing that on my Vita last night and started playing it while I was taking a dump. Meanwhile, I am at the end of Dante's Inferno, which is a hardcore God of War type clone, but we're talking crazy fighting, huge enemies. I want to talk about this a little bit though, because sometimes we try to make the argument of video games as art, and I think that this game is one of the games that really needs to be held up. Now, review-wise, it got favorable reviews, but some people said it worships at the altar of God of War. I mean, yes, it's similar to God of War in that you run around in a 3D world and you beat things up. You could probably call 500 games, God of War clones, but
Right.
it's not like God of War created that genre. Okay. I could say God of War worships at the altar of medieval. Anybody remembers what the hell that is?
I do.
Now, all right. Now, that being said, do you know anything about Dante's Inferno, Paul?
I know the poem that it's based on.
By heart?
No, I mean, that would be really fucking cool. And we probably could have set that up if we would have thought about it ahead of time.
Now, the idea, it's based on the poem, and Dante has to go through all of the circles and realms of hell to try to save the soul of his wife. Not going to get into too many details there, but visually, the world this game creates is mind-blowing. Okay, it is horrific, it is vulgar, it is disgusting, it is disturbing. I mean, at one point I'm in the realm of lust, and besides the fact that, I mean, when you're crawling around, like the walls you climb on, you can see people behind the walls undulating and trying to push out, and they're talking to you and shit.
Nice.
And in the realm of lust, they're like moaning and stuff and saying things like pleasure me. But here's the thing, this is NSFU NSFW, but it's not something you're going to watch and wank off. Okay.
Gotcha.
Is the boss of that particular realm, and she is gigantic. Like that level starts off with this tower that looks like you wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it, but it's definitely a big dick, and it rises way up into the air, and you basically make your way up this tower throughout the whole level. And while you're doing that, I mean, she's like a giant, like bigger than King Kong, climbing up this thing, her big titties swinging around. She bashes a hole in the wall. Fucking tongues come out of her nipples while you're fighting all these things, and then her nipple opens up and all these demons come out, and she scoops them up and lays them down into the play field, and now you have to fight them. I mean, it's disturbing. It's not, oh yeah, look at titties. It's exactly as twisted as you would expect hell to be. Hell, by the way, of Hellraiser and maybe a little bit of Tim Burton. So friggin' disturbing. And so many little touches, like the suicide forest, because you get to the point where you have to confront violence, and there's levels: violence against another, violence against self, and violence against God. And those are 3 different levels. And in the violence against self, it's a suicide forest. And if you get too close to these things that I'm not going to describe, basically your character starts taking his sword and trying to stab it into his chest, and you have like a little mini game that you've got to do to stop him from doing it, and you have to steer clear of those things. I mean, it's fucked, but it's so good, and it's all done. I mean, all the things I'm telling you, and I probably haven't even told you the worst parts about it, well, people would call worst, and every single bit of it is done completely artistically, completely taken seriously. This is not a joke. It is not fat material. What it is friggin' art. I've not seen any other game achieve.
Wow.
The PS3, Paul?
I still do, yes.
Okay. Get it. Download the game and play. I mean, it's I think it's $14 and 100% worth it. Take a break from whatever you're doing and just play through this because it's amazing.
Nice.
It was PS3, but it was Electronic Arts and Visceral Games, so it was a good publisher. So graphically, it still holds up really well. So you're not going to be playing it like playing Tomb Raider Legend. Avery comes out and goes, "Oh, these graphics are horrible. Is this an old game?" It's not like going back and playing the original Tomb Raider or something. Hey, Paul, you froze up there for a bit.
Yeah. We are having technical difficulties. Your audio kept dropping out there for a bit.
Oh no! For how long?
We still got the gist of everything with the game. Trust me. But
Okay.
you were freezing, and it was I don't know what's going on with this. This might be an interesting episode. I can't tell if you're
I'm just
still
kidding.
or not.
But yeah, that's what I'm playing. A lot. I'm playing a lot. I've beaten a ton of games in the past month.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's what I did with my month off. I played video games because I'm 12.
Hey, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. But I have not played anything. I've not really had time to play anything. I'm still waiting to jump into Batman Arkham Origins. It's like literally laying on top of my PS3 right now. I was ready to go. I just haven't been able to get into it. Just because there's so much other crap going on. So
yeah, there is a lot of crap going on.
Yes.
I'm hearing about a lot of crap going on. A lot of crap, a lot of crapping.
A lot of crapping. Hard to negotiate it.
So should we restart this segment since we're having a technical not the segment, restart because we're having technical difficulties, come back and go into the news?
That's what I was thinking. Let's throw it to our commercial break, and then we will roll right into the next segment.
If you can actually stop the recording.
Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a keyback issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore. Located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking, Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics.
And we are back. You know, that's going to bother me every time it happens.
Me too.
For those of you that can't hear that, I don't know. Will they be able to hear that? Do you think?
I hope they can't hear that.
Yeah, that's awful. Whenever we start a segment, it says this meeting's now being recorded. That's awful. Anyway, we're going to go into the news. So first up this week, toss a severed head to your Witcher. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Henry Cavill has been cast in the Highlander reboot coming from Lionsgate Films. Now, if you don't know Highlander, it's an older movie. Corbs did that on one of his classic movie reviews, did he not?
I don't believe so.
No?
I don't think he's done Highlander yet.
Okay.
I know we discussed Highlander.
We did. Highlander, a great movie, didn't do well at the time, but it was a cult classic about a group of immortals, and they have to, chop each other's heads off, and the last one standing ends up, winning the prize, whatever that is, which seems to change from movie to movie. Popular enough to spawn a bunch of movies, some TV shows, really great TV show starring Adrian Paul. Which I know you're a fan of as well. Now, what's interesting is this is coming from director Chad Stahelski, who did the John Wick franchise. Carly Williamson has penned the script, but Gregory Wyden is also on to executive produce. And he is the original creator of not only the Highlander franchise, but also the Prophecy series of films.
Nice.
So it looks like we've got everybody who really needed to be on there. In fact, the original executive producer, Peter Davis, was on board to be part of this as well until he died earlier in the year. So they really brought back the people, that made it originally. They brought on some new blood who have had success with other movie franchises. And we don't know whether Henry is going to be playing, Connor or Ramirez, or if it's going to be an entirely new group of characters. So we don't know that he is the lead. If they follow the original story, he could be in the Ramirez slot, but I don't see why they would waste him there unless they're concerned he has too many franchises already.
That is a possibility.
Yeah, so he would bring power to the first, maybe the second movie, but they may be looking for someone else to actually carry it. Next up, if I'd ever actually watched the show, I'd have a witty title for you. The CW is retooling their live-action Powerpuff Girls show after details about the script leaked online. Did you see this, Paul?
Yes.
Details like Buttercup threatening to release Blossom's nudes. Now, I know nothing about Powerpuff Girls, but I know I don't need to see Maya Bialik's fun bits. So I'm all for them retooling the whole thing. I would have loved to sit in on that pitch meeting, though. Hey, we're gonna reboot a cartoon with sex. They did it with Ren and Stimpy, but I don't know. It just seems like it was a bad idea all around. Finally, the name's Bezos. Jeff Bezos. Amazon has finalized its deal to purchase MGM. Now, MGM is one of the biggest studios and oldest studios in the world. It was established in 1924, and they have over 17,000 films and TV shows in their vault. Now, I already thought Jeff Bezos owned the only working Stargate in the world, but now we can actually call it a Stargate because he owns Stargate, James Bond, and a ton of other stuff. So you're going to see a lot of this stuff, first of all, probably go to Amazon. I think it's likely we're finally going to see another Stargate series because now that they own the property, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, if they can spend, 450 billion, on one season of Lord of the Rings, or was it million? It was some obscene
Million. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still
on
crazy.
One season of Lord of the Rings. They can spend, 3 million on a season of Stargate. I hope, please, Jeff. I order shit from you all the time. Come on, man. Do me a solid. And that's the news, kids. Now be careful with those hard drugs like ibuprofen. Not everyone has 2 backup kidneys like Laura. Paul?
In other news, koalas feed their newborns poop. Back to you, Hugh.
Now we're going to do something different this week. I'm going to do the movie review. Originally, Corbs was going to do The Negotiator, but he is having negotiation issues with a toilet. Interestingly enough, I had that exact same problem today. Well, maybe not. I don't know. He sent an emoji. I'm not going to get into details, but I was at Lowe's this morning buying parts to repair the toilet upstairs, and that's what I did. First thing in the morning, I had my hands in a toilet, and interestingly enough, okay, Paul, does your toilet have styrofoam around the inside to prevent sweating?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, ours does. And the problem was the flapper. And I've tried to fix this before, and I couldn't see it until I actually took everything apart. The styrofoam, the flapper couldn't close all the way because it was hitting the styrofoam. And originally, when it was first installed, because this was put in when we bought the house, so 8 years ago,
Right.
It was fine, but it's warped now because of hitting that styrofoam, and it wouldn't close all the way. And I bought a new one, and that's when I saw, like, holy crap, it's hitting the styrofoam. First of all, how the fuck did the guy that put that toilet in think that was okay? Fuck you, dude. And second of all, I mean, I had to take a fucking screwdriver and chisel styrofoam chunks out of the tank on both sides to make this thing fit. Long story short, I negotiated my way through that dilemma, and we now have a working toilet upstairs. The issue being, though, I have not watched The Negotiator, so I can't review that. But what I can review is Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead, which I did watch this past weekend. Now, if you're not familiar with it, it's a Netflix movie. It had a short theatrical release. I brought it up last week. And it's basically a zombie movie. But it's not a sequel to Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. It is a batshit crazy zombie movie. Now, a lot of people online are saying, oh, I hated it, this, that, plot hole, this, plot hole, that. It's a fucking zombie movie, okay? I mean, what do you expect? This is not Heart of Darkness, all right? I'm sorry, Apocalypse Now. I actually read the book of that film. Fucked me up for like 3 months, but I always think of it as Heart of Darkness. I thought it was a fantastic movie. Now, it isn't one of those situations where if you know what you're getting into or you know what you're going into, even above that, because my big thing, because I joined the Slasher Social Network this week, which is a social network for horror fans.
Nice.
And we were talking about this. And I said, you know what? This movie was actually better than it had to be to meet expectations. Okay? Not a lot, not a ton. It's not going to win awards, but it was better than it had to be to meet expectations, and that's always a good thing. The basic story of this movie is Las Vegas is now a wasteland. There was a zombie outbreak, and they walled off Las Vegas with shipping containers, which is something I've thought about because, I have zombie preparedness, files 1 through 1022 in my head. And I thought that was a great idea. They wall it off, and a few years down the road, they're basically getting ready to drop a nuke. They're going to get rid of it because people are worried that zombies are going to get out. They've actually, unlike most movies, they've managed to contain it. A rich man played by Hiroki Sanada, I got his name right this time, my favorite Asian actor. He basically wants to hire some people to go in there and rob a casino vault that has $2 million in it that's already been reimbursed to him by the insurance company, so it's tax-free money. He can just take it. Now, he picks a guy that actually fought his way out of Las Vegas when this first happened. He picks this guy, and he's going to run the crew. So he goes, and he gets picks the people he wants, and the idea is they have to go in there, and they have to rob the vault. Now, I'm not going to give away too much here because I don't want to ruin the movie for anyone. So I'm not going to give any further details plot-wise there. What's different about this movie is that they're not traditional zombies. You do have your regular shamblers. Just, I want to eat shit. And they have some that are they're fast. They run around and shit. But there are also smarter ones. And it's posited that maybe those are ones who were bitten by the original zombie, the first one that we see in the movie. And it's somewhat hinted at that there might be alien involvement there, because in the opening scenes, you see two little lights in the sky take off as they're leaving Area 51 with this container that has that zombie in it. Now, those zombies are smarter. Now, they're not walking around talking. They're still like, but they're actually able to communicate with each other. And right off in the beginning, there's this fixer who, and she is played by, let me see if I can pull the name. No, I can't. So, but she basically, her job has been, she always gets people in and out of Las Vegas, because people still go in and out even though they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And she has learned that you can leave sacrifices, let's call it, or offerings to the queen, and she will let you tool around in there as long as you don't go in certain places, and they will actually leave you alone. So it's interesting. They have a hierarchy. They're almost working towards something. It's not something we see a whole lot in zombie films. We see it a lot in zombie books, but it's always weird to me when you suddenly have intelligent zombies who are walking around and talking and building a society like that. This is definitely more primitive, but it makes for a change, because that right there changes everything about the movie. You know, your traditional zombie movies, we get in there, mindless things. There's just so many of them that they're overwhelming. Well, you have that, but now you also have the fact that they can plan. They can have tactics, and that adds another element of threat. Dave Bautista was great in the movie. I haven't seen him in a whole lot other than Guardians of the Galaxy, but I do know that he's done a few other movies. He's trying desperately to break out of the action guy mold, mm-hmm. and he isn't just an action guy here. There's some dramatic weight to the character that the character has a lot of baggage, and I'm not going to say he knocked it out of the park, but I certainly think he did better than you would expect a guy that wrestled 10 years ago. Decent performance there. One of the big things about the movie is they had to replace an actor by the name of Chris D'Elia for basically trying to bang minors, and they had to remove him from the movie. And Zack Snyder spent a ton of money to digitally replace him with an actress by the name of Tig Notaro, who is from Star Trek Discovery, if you don't know that. Fantastic. And what they did is it's really crazy, because they blurred a lot of shots so that they could like move things in. And, Tig did not actually film any scenes with any of the cast. Like whenever you see Tig in the scene, nobody else is there. What I find shocking is Zack Snyder was able to successfully remove an entire person from a film and have it look decent, but couldn't remove a fucking mustache to save his life. But hey, it works, and certainly it was one of the highlights of the film. Some people complain about the zombie tiger. You've seen that in the previews. I'll tell you what, in the previews you can't see it. Actually getting to see it up close in the movie, the zombie tiger looks fantastic. I mean, I don't know what you think a zombie tiger is supposed to look like, but if you look at that and you go, oh, that looks fake, well, of course it does, because zombie tigers don't fucking exist, you moron. From my perspective, I thought that was as good as I would expect a zombie tiger to look like in real life. It was fucking awesome. So I'm going to give this, if we're going on our, 5 stars or thumbs up or whatever, I'm going to say 4. And I want to temper that with the fact that, a 5-star movie would be something really great and fantastic. And this doesn't approach that. But as far as how much I enjoyed it like a 4. Realistically, it's probably a 3. But I enjoy it like a 4. It's 2.5 hours long. Not once during that movie did I go, oh man, this is dragging, or oh man, this movie is really long. I mean, it clipped along. I've never watched a movie that long without at some point it feeling like it was dragging, and it didn't. Definitely, if you have Netflix, watch it. I mean, if you like zombie movies, I don't think you're going to be disappointed.
Outstanding. Well, I reached out to our good friends at RogerEbert.com, and the guy who's doing things these days is a man named Brian Tallarico. And he doesn't quite agree with you, Hugh. He gives it 2.5 stars, and he says, on the heels of HBO Max releasing Zack Snyder's director's cut of Justice League, the divisive filmmaker hops from one major streamer to another with next week's Netflix premiere of Army of the Dead, released in a limited theatrical release tomorrow, May 12th. Okay, so it was a few weeks ago now. 10 days ago. Forget it. One can't title a zombie movie anything blank of the dead and not expect to draw comparisons to the great George A. Romero. But Snyder's pedigree includes helming the only good remake of one of the master's undead flicks in his 2004 version of Dawn of the Dead. So does the new one match up to either that taut horror remake of the works of Romero himself? Yes and no. There are elements of this aggressive action extravaganza that are tightly conceived and executed, mostly in the zombie headshots department. There are also themes that feel muddled and characters that are incredibly thin. Yes, even for a movie like this one, for which character is rarely a strong suit. Still, the film delivers on what it promises in its title, which may be all that's needed for Snyder fans and those looking for a new action movie in an era when it still feels like all the blockbusters have been delayed. Army of the Dead opens with a clever scene involving a military transport colliding with a pair of newlyweds celebrating their marriage while driving down a Nevada highway. A bit of dialogue reveals that the convoy has recently come from Area 51 and that their undefined payload is so dangerous that their military-grade weapons won't make much of an impact. When the large container holding their deadly passenger is damaged, it opens and the soldiers who survived the accident are pretty quickly turned into the undead before climbing a hill to set their sights on the city of sin, Las Vegas. Over a cover version, of course, of Viva Las Vegas, Snyder unfolds a clever montage of the carnage that pretty quickly happened next. Topless zombie showgirls devour a man in a bathtub. Zombies turn casino floors into their playgrounds. The military comes in to get out as many survivors as possible before the entire city is walled off. The credits also introduce us to our major players, including Ward, Dave Bautista, Cruz, Ana de la Reguera, and Vandero, Omari Hardwick. 3 soldiers with dead aim and a whole lot of luck. Although after escaping the city, they've returned to blue-collar jobs while the government debates what to do now that a zombie king is running a casino called Olympus. That's why Ward listens when a wealthy man named Tanaka, Sonata, Hughes guy, comes to him with a proposal. There's $200 million in a vault under Las Vegas. Get a team together, get the cash, and get out before the government nukes the entire city and they can keep $50 million of it. Ward reunites with Cruz and Vanderho, and the trio then puts together their own Ward's 11, including an expert safecracker, Matthias Schwiegelhofer, a viral personality, Raul Castillo, a helicopter pilot, Tig Notaro, seamlessly replacing Chris D'Elia, who shot the film and then was replaced with reshoots, one of Tanaka's men, Garrett Dillahunt, and eventually even his own daughter, Kate, Ella Purnell. Other faces will pop up, including a scene-stealing coyote, Nora Arnezetter, and an abusive officer, played by Theo Rossi. Oh, see, now Corbs is missing it. He'd be all over that one. Most of them will end up zombie food. That's only a spoiler if you've never seen a zombie movie. Sorry. Despite its remarkable length, Army of the Dead is a pretty deliberate, lean movie that effectively blends the heist genre with the zombie one. Snyder's co-written script has just enough new in both departments, although I wish there was a bit more to the heist itself than the direct line from A to zombie, and trying to get back to A again. It sometimes feels like the plot of Army of the Dead is merely a skeleton on which to hang the action scenes, instead of something inherently clever on its own. I kept waiting for a twist or a surprise that never really came. It also would have helped for the lack of inventiveness in the story to be offset by more interesting characters, but these ones are incredibly shallow, even for a zombie action genre. One could completely define almost every character in the film with no more than 3 words max. For example, Ward is a father, chef, and soldier, and that's all that anyone knows about him. Bautista, a charismatic and underrated actor, struggles to make him feel 3-dimensional, but he makes out better than De La Reguera or Hardwick, both of whom have almost no character at all. It's one of those films where the supporting players steal focus from the straight-laced leads simply because they give the film some energy. particularly Dillahunt, Schweighofer, and Arnezetter, who are all great. But why not punch it up a bit and give everyone a little personality? Some of the zombies here have more character depth than the humans for Romero's sake. There's also a sense that Snyder is playing with political and topical themes without having much to say about any of them. Walls that separate people to the point that the team needs a coyote to get back into an American city. That's inherently topical given the hot buttons it presses, and it's impossible not to look at someone being temperature checked and not think about the current state of the world, even if there's no way Snyder could have predicted that reality. The problem is they don't add up to much. They're flavor instead of actual ideas. And that's downright anti-Romero, given how much the master was willing to go right at themes like dead-eyed consumerism and the military-industrial complex in films like Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. It's not that Army of the Dead necessarily needs those elements to work, but there's something frustrating about teasing them into the story only for them not to really go anywhere. So what does work about Army of the Dead? It's fun and unpretentious, driven more by its action set pieces than anything else. It clearly is inspired by modern fast zombie films like World War Z or 28 Days Later, as it is the works of the master, and there are moments when its grand insanity just clicks thanks to the set-piece ambition of its filmmaker and the willingness of its cast to go anywhere he leads them. An unforgettable zombie tiger, a strange sort of undead king/queen dynamic that shapes the action, a great sequence involving using brain eaters to spring booby traps. These are the kind of fun, clever beats that keep Army of the Dead alive. There are just enough for them to hold it together, even if it's a spin or two away from winning the jackpot.
Well, I think that was probably fair.
Taylor Rico's a wordy motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
My jaw hurts now.
I don't have a joke for that. I mean, I wanted to have a joke for that, but I just couldn't negotiate one out of my mouth. But you might have negotiated one into your mouth earlier, and that's why your jaw hurts.
That's where I was expecting it to go. All right. So what do you say we throw it to commercial and we wrap this up? We'll go into our featured topics and our midstream.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Stick with us, guys.
Looking for the hottest new comic on the shelf or a key back issue to complete your run? How about that rare statue or action figure that you've scoured the internet looking for? Come to Collectibles Galore, located in North Syracuse with ample off-street parking. Collectibles Galore has a huge selection of comics, toys, and rare pop culture items you won't find anywhere else. Comics Galore is always buying comics and toys and will give you the fairest price for your collection. New customers get 15% off their first purchase in store. Collectibles Galore for all of your pop culture needs. Stop in and see for yourself why Collectibles Galore is the king of comics.
And we are back. So far without any more technical difficulties. So let's get into some of our stuff here. I want to lead off with Hugh. Did you see that Walmart just had to apologize for sending out a racist email?
I did not. I'm not surprised though.
Apparently what happened, and I'll have the link to it that'll explain more of it, but a Walmart's calling bad actor hacked in and created accounts, like dozens of accounts for people that are real email addresses that they got from a hack. But so they got sent the typical welcome to Walmart when you create an account thing, except that the welcome message said welcome to Walmart, N-word.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they had to apologize. That they're in spin mode right now to try and fix that. How do you let that happen? Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they were hacked, I mean, look at it this way, and I sometimes, in my job, we'll have things will happen. Okay, especially in captioning, you mishear something. I mean, we've had some things get into something that maybe wasn't completely appropriate. Mistakes happen. with us, you can mishear a word. With Walmart, they could have an employee who's just pissed off and it's like, you know what, I'm going to leave this job. It's not worth it. They can't necessarily control that. I mean, is it bad? Yes. Is it bad that they need to be canceled? No. I mean, unless we find out that, it was one of the Waltons who sent that email, because let's face it, you don't get that rich without being at least a little bit racist. If it wasn't the Waltons, if it was just an employee, that fire the employee, publicly put them up, hey, here's the guy, here's his picture, here's where he lives, and he's the one that did this. We're really sorry.
Yeah, this is the asshole.
Yeah, they can't control that.
No.
It doesn't. I mean, when something like that happens, it doesn't necessarily mean the company is racist, or people get really upset about stuff like that, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, think about it logically. Yeah. But I just thought that was great. I had to throw that out there for you. And I wish we could have let off the show with that. The email itself.
You mean actually just say it, like read it?
Yeah.
Welcome to Geek Pod.
We may have to isolate that and put that at the beginning of the show.
But we can't, because we can't use that word.
It won't make any sense. Yes. And yeah, we can bleep, but yeah, we're not going to. So we've had a couple movie trailers drop in the last week or so.
Yeah.
And you said you've gotten to watch both of these.
I have, and one of them I can comment on. The other one, I was like, I don't even remember what happened. There was stuff in things, in fighting, and
swords.
Yeah.
And people who should be wearing masks and they're not. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
What we're talking about with that one is the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins movie, which is coming out the day after my birthday, actually. But it's theater only, so I might actually have to decide if I really want to go to the theater to watch a subpar G.I. Joe movie again. But the episode dropped.
The episode dropped.
That's what I'm typing.
Are you having trouble negotiating your words right now?
Yes, I am. The trailer for it dropped, and I'm not so sure. It looks like it's going to be a cool action movie, but as a Joe fan, because I am, and I've been for years, that doesn't really scream G.I. Joe anything to me. I'll go see it because I mean I could be wrong about it, but I mean, like I said, it looks like a cool martial arts movie is what we're getting. I really don't get Snake Eyes out of that, and I'm not going to be one of these guys, the quote unquote purists that you're seeing online everywhere screaming because Snake Eyes isn't a blonde white guy. Yeah, that's really a thing. People are freaking out over that.
Really? I didn't know Snake Eyes was a blonde white guy.
Yeah, and you wouldn't unless you read the comics, because in the cartoon we never saw him with his mask off. Yeah. But yeah, there's that one, and we'll have the link to the trailer in there if you guys want to check it out yourselves. And then the one that I was more excited for, and I hope you agree here, Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
I am excited for this. I was really excited to see the trailer, and then I was kind of let down afterwards. Not for the reasons everyone else is. People said, the humor and the relationship between Eddie Brock and the symbiote. I thought that was all right. That was going to have to be tweaked a little bit for the movie anyway. Make it more like a buddy cop film. I know Carnage is red. They hint that he's red, but man, it's really hard to tell what color Carnage is in that trailer. They really, and I'm worried that the entire movie is going to be like that, because I really want to see proper red Carnage on screen. Now, don't give me any shit by saying we have to have diversity and it's okay for Carnage to be blue if we want him to be blue. Carnage is supposed to be fucking red.
Right. That would be like bringing out Captain America in a green costume. You don't do it.
It doesn't matter if it's a white man or a black man, but that better be a blue fucking costume, motherfucker.
Right. Looks cool. Looking forward to that one too. I don't know if I'll see that one in the theater. I didn't see the original Venom in the theater, but
I'm going to check it out.
Definitely.
It didn't turn me off. Like, I'm definitely not going to watch Snake Eyes, but
right.
I will be watching Let There Be Carnage, if nothing else, because it's inspired casting. mean, Woody Harrelson is Carnage. I mean,
Yes.
unless he wads it, I can't think of anybody better to play that character.
Yeah, no, that was pretty awesome. Yeah. And I've noticed they tweaked his look so they make him look less stupid than he did at the end of Venom. Yeah. So that's yeah, I'm down for it 100%. And this newest one, I think it just dropped 2 days ago, the Eternals teaser. Did you see that one?
I did.
Not telling us a lot.
Care?
Right.
Why do I care? Like,
yeah. We there really isn't enough there to get us excited. And
yeah, I said I was worried about this glut of movies that don't really have any popular characters or anything to anchor them. I'm really concerned about it because, I mean, based on that trailer, the only reason I'm going to see this movie is because it's a Marvel movie. Based on that trailer, I would not go see this fucking movie.
Right. And they really need to pull something out. Like, and I think what would do it is, and they've said that's in the movie, is we see a young Thanos in there. Like, we get some Thanos origin in it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look at what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy. Prior to that first movie, the average public did not know who they were.
Right.
But do you know what drew them in? I mean, if nothing else in the trailer, Groot. They had Groot, and then they had Baby Groot, of course. But that grabbed people like little Yoda did for the Mandalorian.
Yes.
People were like, ooh, what's that? There was nothing in that trailer that made me go, ooh, what's that? I have to learn more about this.
The only thing that elicited a response at all was the Avengers throwaway line at the end.
Yep.
That made me chuckle. That was it. Like you're saying, that there's nothing else about that so far with what they've shown us that makes me want to see it at all.
Yeah. And me being a comic book fan, I mean, it's kind of weird. You know, I'm open to things that are based on books I've never read, but I really expected to get drawn in a bit more.
Yeah. And there isn't anything yet. I mean, we've got Jon Snow there playing Dane Whitman, the Black Knight. Any mention of that? The guy was an Avenger, and we're not discussing that yet. Why? We get really nothing out of it. But I digress. And that was a last minute throw in.
Angelina Jolie does have a pretty cool sword, though.
Yes. Apparently, that's her power, is she can make any weapon out of gold energy.
Oh.
And I found out about that on YouTube.
Because we don't know who these people are.
Not a clue. Not a freaking clue. All right. So what have you been streaming, Hugh? What are you watching?
Well, we've gone through all the Blumhouse movies with Avery, so we're starting on the Resident Evil series.
Nice.
Because she's all about, she's back to wanting to watch horror movies. And man, it's hard to find horror movies that ride that fine line. Because like Resident Evil, we don't care if, she sees a little bit of Mila Jovovich's nipple or something. Because, the first couple movies, she must have had it in her contract that she has to show like one nipple at the opening of every single movie. But, we don't want to be any full-on sex. I mean, she hasn't asked questions about that kind of stuff. We want to stay away from it. So it's really hard to find horror movies that don't cross into that stuff. We've over the weekend, we watched The Babadook and The Possession, which is a Dybbuk box movie starring Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Nice.
We're looking forward to The Unholy, which is coming out, I think, next month. But it's tough to find movies that really are safe for her at this point.
Right. Now, that's hard.
Yeah. Beyond that, we are still, we're thinking about diving into The Handmaid's Tale because I've heard lots of good stuff about it. And of course, we're still watching Fear the Walking Dead. Probably right now there's a bit of a TV drought, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, really what Damar and I are watching is mostly Fear the Walking Dead and Naked and Afraid XL.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still just watching Fear the Walking Dead and then getting caught up on a lot of the CW verse shows. I actually, when they did the Clue Master thing on Batwoman, it got me back into at least powering through. I still can't believe it's got a season 3 coming, but it does.
Dude, I got to tell you, I'm a little worried because this entire month I've been off. I've just been banking these shows, and I'm really worried I'm not going to get back into them because
it's hard when you get too far behind. You're just like, I don't want to sit through like 6 episodes at once.
I was having a hard time watching it to begin with. All of the shows have been weak. up until the beginning of this month. I mean, all of them. I mean, Legends, maybe that started off strong. Again, I don't know. Legends is always wacky. It's like one of those things, like the first couple episodes of the season, I'm like, I fucking hate this. And then by the end, I'm like, this is my favorite show ever. It's always, it's not uneven. It just, the story is so out there. It takes some time before you really get into it. But the other ones, I mean, this is the final episode of Black Lightning aired this week, right?
I guess
I
so.
believe
I'm
like
I haven't watched that in 3 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I've loved it, but up until this season, but as a final season, it's kind of been like,
right. And weren't they prepping that for the Painkiller spinoff that is now not happening?
Oh, is it not happening? I didn't know that.
They declined to pick it up after they did all of this stuff for it.
Yeah, they spent an entire episode on that, which really bothered me because they wanted to get that character back in the world. And if you removed that episode from this season, at least as far as I watched, wouldn't have made a difference.
Doesn't make a difference. Wonderful.
Yeah. So they wait, and it's a shorter season, the final season, and they wasted an episode on that.
Perfect. Yep, haven't watched any of that. I haven't watched Supergirl. I gave up on Supergirl seasons ago. Kristen still watches it.
That's wacky.
Yep. I no interest, and I'm trying to circle back to Superman and Lois. Even with the hiatus,
will watch that again.
Yeah, even with the hiatus, I think we're still like 2 episodes behind. And Flash, I'm almost caught up on. I think I'm 2 or 3 episodes behind on that now.
Is that picked up any at all?
It's just weird. I'm not sure where they're going with it, and knowing that, we have major cast members leaving the show, like for good. It's kind of like the same with Legends of Tomorrow right now, because word came out that Nick Rory, the guy that plays him, he's leaving the show, and I guess he's leaving it in a blaze of glory. I guess he had a whole lot of nothing nice to say about the production
that was,
and all that.
According to the news, that was all blown out of proportion.
Okay.
Apparently, he has an open handshake deal to come back in the future.
Okay.
So I don't really know if that was a matter of him speaking out of turn, or he was just like, hey, this is how I am. I always talk like this. So but
Right.
Apparently they're all good.
Okay, good. But Flash is the Flash. It's one of those where it's a slow build to where we're going this season again.
To whatever bad speedster is going to be the bad guy.
Right. But I mean, we're getting Impulse soon. That's apparently the big thing. Impulse is coming. And I think it's supposed to be like the 150th episode, and the daughter that no longer exists in the timeline is supposed to be coming back too.
Oh,
so
nice.
And there's a season 8. We know that. News came out the other day that season 8 is going to start off with mini crossover events for like the first 5 episodes. It's going to be Flash teaming up with one of the other CW verse characters in each one of them.
Nice.
And then I guess they're doing kind of the same thing with John Diggle from Arrow. He's going to show up in single episodes of 4 different shows to expand on where we left him last.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm just waiting for Stargirl to come back.
I don't know what I'm waiting for. Supernatural's gone. I don't know what. I have to just get rid of my TV.
Just throw it out the window.
Yeah, I don't need.
You don't want to do that. You just bought it. You need that for video gaming.
Yeah, you're right. I need it for video gaming. But how'd you feel about this week's Fear?
I liked it. A whole lot of Alicia, and that's never a bad thing. Had we met Cole before?
I think so. I think it was a while ago though. It's hard. It's tough to remember because that show changes so much.
Right. I did not remember him at all.
Neither did I.
We only got it because she told us so. That's what it was. That was really cool. the mother corpse. That was fucking great. John Glover can do no wrong. He is phenomenal in everything he's in. But the only thing that bothers me is he looks like a fucking lion. Like every time I see him, that's all I see.
I don't know where this is going to go, but I did think this week that maybe he was playing it a little too crazy, or a little too. I mean, it was just a little too wacky.
Yeah,
a little too Willy Wonka.
Like chewing scenery wacky, yes.
Yeah, and it was. Don't get me wrong. I will watch him chew scenery all day.
Yes.
It's so entertaining. But I wasn't sure if it was appropriate for the story they're telling, which
Little out of
should
place
be,
on that kind of a show. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess that's one of those things that that was really good. If it was in a different show, I don't know. But still love having him there. I mean, just you don't get to see him in a whole lot.
No, like I don't recall seeing him in anything since Smallville.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's been in something, but nothing I've watched. Excuse me. But yeah, that was a really cool episode. We're really fleshing out what those guys are doing and why. And I mean, I'm still waiting to find out about the submarine stuff. Like, what the hell's going on there?
Well, he said that there was a missile they're going to launch.
No. I got that, but it's like, why is that beached? Like that's I'm waiting for that web series, so we get our explanation on all that. But still digging this. Still think that Fear is the superior Walking Dead show at this point. Yes. So, and I saw that World Beyond got a Blu-ray release. I just saw it in stores.
Hooray!
I guess.
Who buys?
I'm just not used to seeing that.
Do you buy Blu-rays?
Actually, not anymore. Not now. Now I stream everything, and if I can't stream it, I'm very disappointed. So
I'm sure you are.
To wrap it up here, unless you have other things. So last time out, I was talking about Dino Safari.
Yes.
Went to it. We had a blast.
Remind me, I have to tell you about that.
Okay. That translated into the kids wanting to watch the Jurassic Park series now.
Nice.
Yes, we watched the original. They're really hooked in to the point that Kylie wants a T-Rex toy now. She came to Kristen with a Amazon gift card and said, "You need to buy me dinosaur toys." And Kristen was like, "No." So she's trying to leverage everybody in the family to go to Target and buy her Jurassic World toys now. So
lovely.
Yes. What did you have to say about Dino Safari?
So, have you gone to the trail, the trail on the other side of the lake, the one that they built over the past few years? You know what I'm talking about?
The walking trail?
Yeah.
I haven't been there, but I know of it.
Okay. We've been meaning to stop there and check it out. And last Friday, we finally did it. And we pulled into the little parking lot. They got the little, you can see it just, where you normally, get off the highway to go to the state fair, just go to the right. We parked there and we walked up, took a left and walked. First of all, that trail is fucking beautiful.
That's
okay. You looking at it from the road, you wouldn't think it, but it's meticulously landscaped, even with specific weeds. Okay, there's like this thing where it looks like wheat, but really tall, hardy wheat, and it's so cool. They put a ton of work into this, and you wouldn't know it if you didn't walk it. Now, what's interesting is that actually goes behind the Dino Safari.
Yep.
So we got to walk by that. I mean, we were close enough. I mean, people in cars could see us. We could see them. We could see the dinosaurs. First of all, I'm glad your kids enjoyed it. We saw that and we were like, holy crap, we are so glad we didn't pay $50 for this because it looked super lame. I'm sorry. It
definitely could have been better. But you were only getting half the experience. Like there's a whole app you download that goes through all the audio of it and everything along with it. Okay. And that helps more. It was pretty educational. It tells you about each of the different ones. And there's a little storyline that goes along with it. You're smuggling baby T-Rex eggs and you have to get them back to the T-Rex mom. And you basically, it winds up at the end where you pull up next to it and you chuck the plastic Easter eggs at this statue of a T-Rex.
That was one of my great pickup lines. Are you smuggling some T-Rex eggs in your shirt? Are you happy to see me? We saw it and, it was what it was. I was like, I just go to my wife. I'm like, hey, you know what? This is great. We come to this place. It's new, unexpected, turns out to be beautiful. And there's fucking dinosaurs.
Right.
It can't get any better than this. But, it was really nice because they plant a lot of flowers and trees that have blossoms. And the whole walk, there was just this beautiful smell. of which would probably kill you right now with your allergies. I seem in my old age, I don't know if I'm turning into a girl or something, but I've become really interested in flowers, like taking close-up pictures of them. And, when I smell flowers, I'm like, which is something I've never cared about my entire life. But anyway, so we enjoyed the walk. We're on our way back, and we see a few people biking and running and all that stuff. And of course, my wife is complaining because, I have gas like I always do. And so I'm starting to like hang back when I fart, hang back, wait 10 seconds, then start walking. But then the breeze will catch it up with us. So finally, I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait 30 seconds. So I rip one. I stand there for probably 20 seconds, and then I jog to catch up with her. This bike goes by. He waves like, hey, gets behind us, and we hear, oh! And my wife's like, oh my God, you killed him. I mean, awesome. He was a good 20 feet away from us when he started coughing. Maybe it was something else.
But what are the odds? Yeah.
It was so funny. And then after that, we used our cheat meal that night. We went to the second Stella's Diner. They opened one in Camillus.
Yep.
I hadn't been there before. Have you been there?
I haven't been there. I saw it.
Super small, kind of cramped, but the food was fantastic.
Awesome.
I never really been a fan of the main Stella's Diner because it's always so busy. But yeah, it was a good time. Had why are you looking at me? There's a cat over. Oh, you can see her tail.
We can see the tail pop through. Yeah.
But yeah, it was. That's why I was worried. I was glad we canceled last Friday because I was concerned that I wasn't going to make it at home in time because I hadn't done any show notes yet.
Right.
And we would have gotten back with about a half hour to spare.
Yeah, well, it was for the best. That's I had to get AC. So
yeah, tonight it was for the butt.
For the butt. Yeah.
That's why things are different. But I think you and I have negotiated this particular episode fairly well. We definitely didn't crap out in any of the segments, especially considering that I did not have a movie review prepared before we got together and found out that we didn't have a movie reviewer. So I would say that this did not turn into a big shitstorm like I thought it might.
I think on that note, I'm going to drop some nuggets.
Yeah, drop your nuggets, Paul.
Always give 100% unless you're giving blood. Good night, everybody, and megabyte me, bitches.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.